Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Bad news for some. It seems like the Russians are ready to have a mass conscription of about 700,000 troops. So that's good for some and is bad for others. Now, why do they need to get 700,000 up to 700,000 more people? Well, obviously the Ukrainians will tell us about, okay? And I will share that with you because the Ukrainians will tell us the truth. Right? The truth will set you free. Is that what it is? The new voice of Ukraine. Monday, September 11th, 2023. Russia's mobilization plans point to mass conscription of up to 700,000 reservists. General staff. This is what the Ukrainians are saying. Is it to scare the Russians? Is it because the Russians lost too many troops? Or maybe because they say now it's time to get to Poland and advance. All of the above in the same time. So a massive forced mobilization. Remember, probably the Russians are also reading these things or they have access to it. And these things get promoted on different media platforms and social media platforms. And maybe it's a way of scaring certain kind of, I don't know, people. A massive forced mobilization of the population in Russia and the Russian-occupied parts of Ukraine will begin in the near future due to Russia's heavy losses at the front, the Ukrainian military general staff said in its morning report of September 11. Well, the Kremlin wants to mobilize from 400,000 to 700,000 people, as well as another 40,000 people from the Chechen Republic. They want to create panic or something? Make those guys, oh, we don't want. I thought we're winning. What's going on here? If these guys don't cooperate, we're going to read it like this. So the general staff said that Chechens are likely to be used as a barrier squad behind Russian troops, a Soviet-era practice in which a line of troops behind the attacking forces shoot any... They're lying. They're lying. These guys still think that Russia is in Stalin's time. And that's a mistake, because if you really think that, then your assessments for the future, your strategy will be wrong. So you're going to come with a set of information and then you're going to find a different animal over there and you are not prepared. And they showed, Al Capone showed that in numerous occasions when they hired idiots in State Department, and not only, when they go and they hire them based on connections, not on knowledge. I will give you a few examples. One, Kushner, son-in-law of Trump, was appointed as a senior Middle East senior advisor. May I know how he became a senior advisor? You know, when you say senior advisor, that is a seasoned person who did that job for some time, is a senior. He knows what he's talking about. So he was a fucking entrepreneur or his life, building things, dealing with his little schemers in New York. And then he was appointed as a senior. Well, he is of a certain kind, so they thought that if he's going to go to Middle East, he knows what he's doing. He's like, let's say, a French guy born here, right? Let's say his parents, he's born here as a French guy. He's going to be sent as an ambassador or senior advisor to France because he knows what's going on in France. Just because he has some genetic makeup with the French nation that used to be French nation. So is that logical? That's one. The other one, remember Kennedy? Was it Caroline Kennedy? She was appointed the ambassador to Japan. She doesn't know shit. Supposedly, she just showed up and said, hey, I want to be, give me something. Here is Japan. Doesn't know anything about it. I'm going to give you another example. Ram Emanuel. I think he's now the ambassador to Japan. I think she was sent somewhere else. Now, Ram Emanuel has something. He was the chief of staff. He has dual citizenship. Check him out. And not only, which is not bad, but you don't want a guy with this kind of double allegiance working for your government, do you? Anyway, at that level, I'm not talking about people that push papers here. He was the chief of staff of Obama. Then he was elected and mayor in Chicago. He's not from Chicago, as far as I remember. Then he was catapulted in Japan. He's in Japan right now. I think he's the ambassador. Caroline was. I know where she's right now. Anyway, Kennedy. So how are these? I'll give you three, and I can give you more if you want. I mean, just look at these guys. Who's appointed? Look at Blinken. He's Secretary of State. He's the foreign minister. Look at his performance. Look what he says. But hey, let's go back here. So they say that why? Because of that movie called Enemy at the Gates, or at the Gate, one of the two. Remember, it was that movie showing Stalingrad and how that sniper, Yatsev is his name. Yeah, I think his real name was Yatsev, the famous Russian sniper. Supposedly he battered, he fought that German nobility guy, I can't remember, Baron or whatever he was, von something, which is historically inaccurate. But anyway, and they show over there how the troops are sent in to fight over there. Go over there, one with when this guy comes, dies, so one with a rifle, the other one with some ammunition, one little magazine. And when this guy comes, he takes over and goes over. And if they return, there's the commissars. Why don't you check the commissars? Who were they? Not like check Kaganovich, all right, or check others. I will give you the names some other time. You check them. So they were waiting over there and killed all these guys who were coming back. We retreat. Nobody retreats. Bam, bam, brrr, mow them down. Now this is what these guys are talking about. Now, why? Because they work in images. That's how propaganda is made. You create images, and this is direct reference to that movie. And if it's not that movie, this was this kind of order, I think, in one instance where that thing happened, but it was not like widespread Soviet maneuver. But again, they put this with the Soviets. Remember, the Ukrainians were Soviets too. So they tried to throw all the garbage from the Soviet Union on the Russians. But they forget that Kazakhstan was in Soviet Union, Moldova was in Soviet Union, Ukraine was in Soviet Union, Belarus was in Soviet Union, and many others, Uzbekistan, Kapalakistan, Kopolokostan, all these things. But all of a sudden it's just Russia. It is true that Russia supposedly was the most influential, but how was it the most influential when you had a dictator from Georgia, Gruzin, Georgian, Stalin, Joseph Vissarionovich Stalin slash Djugashvili, that's what his real name. Stalin means, in a loose translation, man of steel. Djugashvili was the dictator, and he was the biggest criminal. Set aside Lenin, who was another Russian, or take Trotsky, and take Yogoda. Look at Yogoda. Look at these guys and see how much Russian they were. Anyway, let's move back here. So again, the general staff of the Chechen are likely to be used as a barrier squad behind Russian troops, a Soviet-era practice. So that means the Ukrainians are using it as well if it's a Soviet era. Or you just got rid of that because you're better? Yeah, basically that's what I say. Practice in which a line of troops behind the attacking forces shoots any of their own soldiers who attempt to retreat. All right, they're not in that situation, my friends. Not in that situation. It's not Stalingrad here. And all right, 30 combat dashes, blah, blah, blah. Okay, my friends. So this is one, right? They want to bring between 400,000 and 700,000 troops, supposedly, and they will do this. Why? Because they want to create problems between the Chechens and the Russians. Why? Oh, the Chechens are going to shoot us when we come back. Why the Chechens? I mean, this is nasty, but that's the war. That's the way the war is. Nasty. I don't believe, first, let's say, I don't like to say 0%, but I'm going to say 1%. Let's don't say 100%, I say 99%. Let's say 1%. I give them 1% true that the Chechens will be assigned that task. I don't think at all that it will be, but hey, I'm going to give them 1%. And regarding the 700,000 reservists, I give that 50-50. Now, if that's true, and we go the 50 that's true, then that means these guys are going to be fucked up. Yeah, you have losses, but I think this is the last push. That is, now you guys are in the chords, bam, 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 and you're like, you are, and we get the Gigi and Mikey and Tommy. They're going to knock you out cold. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.